I'm going to move you on quickly to women in the MMA. In MMA, Ronda Rousey, the whole thing. Are you excited to see them come in? It's funny because Dana White, I think a year or two ago, said never, and now that's
Right.
changed. I love Ronda. I don't know how you can't, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I was skeptical in the past, but not because I didn't necessarily enjoy watching women fight. I just didn't know that there was the depth to really have a division or to have multiple divisions in the UFC. But I think from Dana White's standpoint, and I hate to put words in his mouth, but what it really took was somebody like Ronda Rousey, who is as dynamic a fighter and finisher as she is a personality, to really raise his eyebrows. Because I think as great as Gina Carano was, she wasn't the dynamic personality that Ronda Rousey is. She wasn't shooting from the hip and telling it like it is. Ronda Rousey just has this, just such a dynamic quality, just an infectious way about her that
Is she
I think
the third Diaz brother?
I think so.
Okay.
She would certainly take that as a compliment, but I don't know about her extracurricular activities. But she just has it, not just as a fighter, but as a personality. And I think that's what really facilitated this whole thing coming about. I love that they're getting the main event nod. I thought it would have been a mistake to make them the co-main event because it's a title fight. They deserve it.
Yeah.
Women deserve this. My long-term view is that there isn't going to be the depth to have 2 or 3 women's divisions, and I hope to be wrong on that. But I do think that building an Ultimate Fighter show around Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate would really be something that could help the sport.
Coaching men or coaching women?
Coaching women.
Coaching women.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, and maybe they would do half men and half women, in 2 different weight classes like they've done in the past. But I just feel like that Rousey-Tate rematch is something that needs to happen. And I think if you could get some steam behind it by doing the reality show, I think that would be a way to not only fill out the roster in terms of women in the UFC, but to really just highlight women's mixed martial arts, which can be as exciting as the men's game, But I'm really curious to see what Liz Carmouche does with this opportunity because it's the opportunity of a lifetime for her. And as she said on UFC Primetime, nobody expects her to win. She's one of the biggest underdogs in MMA history in any fight, in a title fight or otherwise. I mean, she is a massive underdog.
Like
Nobody's
8-1 or...
It's huge. Yeah, I think it might even be worse than that. I thought last time I saw Ronda was maybe minus 1,000, and I think maybe plus 950 or something like that for Liz Carmouche. So huge opportunity for her and for women. And no, it's exciting, man. It really is something that I think a lot of us didn't think would happen this quickly. And I think all the women in the sport, whether it's Gina Carano or Cyborg or Rousey or Carmouche, they all deserve Miesha Tate. They all deserve credit. But I think Rousey deserves the most credit because ultimately the decision rests with Dana White and the UFC brass. And it took someone like Ronda to really raise their awareness and to sort of, get them to commit. So, as much as I credit all the women and all the pioneers, Rosie, what's her last? Sexton. There are a lot of women who deserve credit, but I think Ronda deserves the bulk of it.
It's amazing how one woman could have accelerated the adoption of female MMA by maybe even 5 years.
Yeah.
Into the UFC.
Yeah.
Sure. Just to be sort of a devil's advocate here, do you think Ronda Rousey would have had the same success if she'd been ugly?
It's a good question because I think that does play into it. So, I would probably say no.
And she knows how to play it up. Fair play to her.
Yeah,
She knows
absolutely.
how to play that up.
But she's also not somebody that, wears makeup on her own. She's not somebody that is obsessed with vanity, So I think she has that working for her as well. But I really think what tipped the scale for Dana was the personality. I mean, she's just like him, She doesn't give a fuck, And I think that, that goes a long way because she really is organic. And the Ronda Rousey that you see in UFC Primetime is the same Ronda Rousey in every walk.
Personality sell fights. Would Chael Sonnen have the light heavyweight shot if it wasn't Chael talking all that stuff? So if Ronda uses her looks, I guess, it is a personality to sell tickets at the end of the day.
Sure. When you're talking about the depth of the divisions, though, I'm wondering where are the next set of challenges? Ronda Rousey's already pretty much gone through everyone in a division. I'm not sure where they're going to come from.
No, you're right, and I think a lot of people, when they hear me talk about Tate Rousey, they don't necessarily see that as a competitive fight, given the way it went down the first time. I would disagree. I think Miesha Tate has plenty for Ronda, and I think right now, other than Cyborg, is the woman best equipped to end Rousey's reign here. But you're right, it's a problem, and I think that's why for Liz Carmouche, I mean, she can really upset the apple cart here if she comes through and just put a wrench, I think, in a lot of the long-term plans. And I don't even know if they have any plans for Tate and Rousey to do a reality show, or if Misha would be the next challenger. But I think the UFC needs a Rousey win to try to move this thing forward. And you're right. I mean, I don't know where those women are coming from. I know Invicta has some traction, but, again, I don't think there is elite talent just waiting to come into the UFC. So it's definitely an issue. And to your point about Chael Sonnen and Ronda and getting these title fights, this is a tough sport, man. And I look at professional athletes as a whole, and I don't know that any group of pro athletes have it as hard as these fighters do, because oftentimes winning isn't enough. You got to win, you got to entertain, and by the way, you got to have a personality.
Yeah.
And in
and
every
not get
other
injured and be in the right place at the right time.
Right, yeah. And there are just so many factors, whereas if you take health out of it, in other sports, all you got to do is win, and you move on. You can win ugly, and as long as you're healthy, you're still playing the next week, or the next day. And in MMA, it's just not that way.